Let's Just Say, please welcome your host, Amy O'Brien.
Welcome to Let's Just Say, Go Comedy's monthly storytelling night. How's everyone feeling right now? High off the fake spring that's going to be here for 10 more hours. And thank you so much for being inside with us. Really appreciate that. So by a show of hands, is there anyone here who hasn't been to a storytelling night like this? Cool, so many of you. All right, so what you're about to see is individually each person to my right is going to come up and tell you a story, a true story from their life. And there is really the only connection between those stories is that they are based around the theme, which this time is fooled with an exclamation mark. I'm very excited about this theme. And yeah, that's it. And even though the building says Go Comedy Improv Theater, that doesn't necessarily mean all the stories are going to be funny. Some of these are going to be serious or heartfelt or funny or all of the above. And yeah, it's a very simple format. The only other thing you need to know is that there is a 7-minute time limit. And once a storyteller reaches that time limit, I will play this little harmonica to let them know to wrap it up. And yeah, and that's how it's gonna go. We're gonna get to the first storyteller tonight. She is a writer and comedian. Please give a warm welcome to Tony Ruggiano.
Okay, hi guys, hi everyone. Thanks, Amy. I heard that the theme was fooled for this thing, so I immediately thought of my granny, and you'll understand why when I'm done telling everything. But in order to get there, I just need to describe her. So my granny lived with me and my mom. It was just the three of us in our house. And she she was an Irish Catholic woman who was from New York, so she was very bitter all the time. What my dad called a dry alcoholic. I didn't learn that until years ago. I was like, oh, I was living with a dry alcoholic my entire childhood. That's great. And she would just stare at me with her eyes. She didn't have to say anything. And this girl at work recently actually was just yeah, my mom would carry around a spatula just so that I wouldn't be bad. I was like, oh yeah, my granny had a spatula in her eyes. Because all she would do was look at me and I knew I was getting in trouble. And so like I said, yeah, she was just the three of us in my house, and she wanted to teach me things that my mom wasn't around to teach me. So this is one really fond memory that I have with her. I got a house key, which was a big deal because I was in middle school. So I was like, all right, I can be at home alone. The possibilities are just limitless. So I get home from school one day, and usually she would greet me on our little step with lemonade. Don't let that fool you. That sounds like she was a nice granny, but she wasn't. So I walked in, and I don't see anything, so I just put my backpack down and walking, and then over the corner of my shoulder, I see her laying upside down on the stairs, and I'm just oh my god. She was probably folding my laundry, and if she's alive, she's gonna yell at me for it. I'm just oh my god. So I go to dial 911, and I get to 9, I get to 1, I go, hello. I just hear her say that from the stairs, and I look over, and I'm like, what? I mean, I didn't say what the fuck, but if it was nowadays, I probably would. And yeah, she was just I just wanted you to know what to do, when you came home, and because I was okay, well now I'm just sad because I thought you had died. And then a few weeks later, I came home again, and once again I put on now I'm suspicious a little bit though, so I'm just looking around, and then I go to the kitchen because I'm fine, I'll get my own lemonade, and I walk in, and then I look, and she's under the table. I was I can fucking see you, Granny. And she's hiding under the table because again, just I want you to learn. So this is really cute. We'd have TV night where we'd watch TV together. It was mostly not Rat Race. What is it? It doesn't matter. It was a show. Survivor was a big one for us. And so we'd be sitting there just watching it oh my god, I can't believe they said that. And she'd go, did you hear that? I say, yeah, I can't believe that so-and-so just did that. She goes, no, look up there. And she looked up to her second story balcony, and just for 20 minutes convinced me that there was ghosts up there. And then she just saw a dead little girl walking across our floor. And I was like, I didn't see anything. She goes, no, I saw 2 people. And I was like, your bedroom's down here. My bedroom's up there. That's not very nice that now I have to go to sleep up there. Yeah, so she just did stuff like that a lot. I'd always try to say that I loved her, and she'd just say, okay. Love you, Granny. Okay. Or she did this really fun, gross thing where she'd want to say goodnight to me, so she'd be tucking me in, and she'd do that really gross spit thing that people do, that pretend to spit in. I know, it's really gross. Pretend to spit at you and then take back up. And I gotta say, it doesn't always work. It doesn't always work. Yeah, it was just after my Hail Mary, she's like, and now this. And now I'm going to spit at you. But the thing is though, so now I'm all right, well, I get it all the time. I want to, give back to people. So I'm I get this all the time. So then we'd start playing pranks on other people. So she would get me salt and vinegar chips, and then I put them in a Ziploc bag, a clear one, and she'd be like, all right, you're going to take this to school. And I was like, and I'll tell everyone they're plain chips. And they wanted to say it's a plain chip, and it's salt and vinegar. So that's on you. But no, and then I'll just end with this final thing that we used to do to my cousin. So when my granny got older, she needed an oxygen tube, and so it was an oxygen tube, and she walked with it everywhere because she had to walk up to everything. So my family would be over, and I'd go, hey Christy, look at this, and I'd step on it. And then she'd be like, oh, my oxygen tube, and then be like, no, we planned that. I planned to step on our oxygen tube. Or we play jump rope with it and stuff. And so I'm from New York, so when I moved to Michigan, I would tell people about this. I would say yeah, and they're like, what the fuck? And I was like, oh, your grandmama didn't do that? Did she make you cookies and sit in a rocking chair with you? I didn't get that. I don't know. Yeah. So I called my mom and I was like, yeah, Mom, Bean is fooled. So, of course I called, or I'm going to talk about Granny. And we're all like, yeah, we know that. And she said, well, maybe she'll be there with you tonight. I said, I hope not. I hope she's haunting me, I know, but I don't want to know how and when. Because if anyone was going to come back and haunt someone, it would be her. That's her MO. That's probably what she was leading up to her entire life. It was to come back and haunt people. Yeah. That's it.
Now I'm gonna be waiting for a light to fall or something. Is this grandma the mother of the dad you talked about last?
Oh no, she's crazy.
Oh well, your whole family. I need you to come up here relative by relative, just every show. So our next storyteller is a comedian. He's hosting a showcase Friday and Saturday at Sweetwater Entertainment in Waterford. Please welcome Shane Dials.
Very funny. No, so this is it's a story. I guess we'll just set the stage for it. It's not so much about me being fooled as much as I'm made to look like a fool. So the stage, I guess, we're going to go back in time. We're going to go to October 29th, 2004. So at this point in time, Hey Ya's the #1 song on the radio. It's been the #1 song for 3 years now. It was on the radio all the time. Honestly, if I'm being honest, it's the best song on the radio now. Never comes on this is better than ever. So that's going on. Friends just went off the air, so white people are in an uproar. Everyone's kind of on edge because we haven't found out what Phoebe and the Friends are up to in a couple weeks. And I remember this because October 29th is the day that the first Saw movie was released, right? Swept the nation. I know this because I went immediately after class. I'm 14 years old, I'm a freshman in high school. We went out immediately after class and seen this. I also remember this day because it was the first day I touched a boob. It was the first day I was arrested. Those are two separate instances. It's not why I was arrested. So we go to see this movie, we get out, we head home. There's 4 of us, right? We're all excited, we're 14 years old, it's Halloween weekend, we want to drink and party. I live in Redford, which is a suburb of Detroit. If you're not familiar with the area, I'm 6 Mile and Beach Daily. So at any moment, I'm like 7 minutes away from a stabbing, right? Like if I just turned right and walked 7 minutes, I'd walk into a knife. I know this specifically because we're going 7 minutes to a liquor store that's most known for stabbings and shootings and selling to underage kids. So we go there, and on our way there, we're four little white children. We're children. We're 4 white children walking to Stab Bar. And so we're walking there, and as we're walking, a cop sees us, picks us all up, takes us back to our house. He's taking all of our information. He sees my last name, Dials. And he goes, "Do you have a sister?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Is her name Mindy?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, I went to high school with Mindy. She's still cute." I was like, "I watch it." You know? It's like, I know where this guy's going. So he started teaching me, I'm dating your sister, all this stuff. I was like, yeah, whatever. So we get home, and he goes up, knocks on the door. No shit, my sister comes to the door. They talk for a couple minutes. He comes back. We go in, and my sister's looking like kind of frantic. She's kind of weirded out. She goes, "What happened?" And I go, "We were walking to go play Mr. and the cops picked us up." She goes, "Oh." I said, "What? What did he say?" He goes, "He told me that he caught all 4 of you in an alley trying to fuck a dog." Yeah, same reaction. And to this point in the story, I'd like to point out that that cop is an asshole. He did not need to say that. Realize now what happened was, he went up there to hit on my sister. She didn't even know who the fuck he was.
Oh, no.
So he got real mad and was like, "Well, I'm gonna make this kid look like an idiot, right?" So walk up there, fool me once, right? I fucked the dog. That's the old adage, I believe. So the night's down over, right? I go to a party, I get in a car, a girl's driving, 3 of us go back to Stab liquor store, and we go there, and a lady's coming by, so I roll down the window, and I'm like, "Lady." And she comes over, and I'm still rolling down the window, and before I can finish, she opens up the door and gets in. And she sits on my lap, and I scoot over, and we have 3 14-year-old boys, a 16-year-old girl who drove us there, and before we can say anything, she goes, "So you guys want me to suck your dicks?" "Yeah, I'm 14 years old. Kind of crazy. That's never been offered to me. Never even heard of that." The weirdest part is that 3 14-year-old boys were real quiet for like 30 seconds. None of us knew what was going on. I had butterflies. It was weird. It was never offered to me. And the only thing that snapped us out of it was the 16-year-old girl in the front seat like, "No, we want you to buy us liquor." So it was really weird. She goes and she gets us liquor. We go to a party. Within 2 minutes of being there, the party gets broken up by the cops. I see Sergeant Dogfuck, right? He comes up, we lock eyes, I run out the back, I hop the porch, I take off, I lose all my friends, and I start walking home, and I wind up at the park. And I'm seeing a group of kids that I don't really know too well, but they're drinking at the park, so I'm like, that sounds like a good idea. So I hang out with them. This is where I meet my first boob. Her name is Holly. So I sit there, and I guess I'm drunk at this point. I'm being charming, I'm being funny. We start kissing. The boob thing happened, which was cool. And unbeknownst to me, the cops started coming. They came, they saw all of us, they just pulled past all the equipment, the children equipment, and come up to the dugouts, and so they caught us. Everybody else ran, I was too busy. So they get us, and they're trying to make us blow into this thing, and I remember thinking I was going to outsmart them, so I'm trying to blow into the breathalyzer and breathe out at the same time, so it's like a weird thing, Didn't work, I blew way over. So they book us, and they put us in the back of the car, and they drive us to the police station. And the whole time we're there, the whole time we're in the back, she's crying. She's like, "My dad's going to kill me. My dad is so horrible." And I'm handcuffed, and there's no seatbelts, it's a plastic seat, so you're just sliding around. And I'm still kind of trying to kiss her, like an idiot. I don't know. So we get there, and they separate us, and they tell us they're going to separate us, and they take her to the left, and she's crying, and as a joke, I don't know why I wanted to impress him, but the guy that told my sister I fucked the dog, as a joke to him and all the other cops, I looked back at her at 14 years old and I said, "Baby, wait for me! Wait!" And it crushed. All the cops laughed. She didn't know what the hell was going on. Her dad was there to pick her up and saw us like, "Who the fuck's this kid? I've never seen him in my life." So they go to process me and I black out. I don't remember anything. I don't remember getting my picture taken, fingerprints, none of that. I come to with the sound of a woman's scream. It was the loudest scream I've ever heard, piercing, shattering, banging, just a horrible noise. And I come to, and I'm blacked out, and I see bright lights just like this, right in my face. And I don't know if you've ever been in that dream state, or at least when you're drunk, where your brain tries to put everything that had just happened back. But my brain skipped the alcohol portion, so it's starting to put back the memories from when I was last sober. but it's not doing this clearly. So all the memories that come to me are from the movie Saw. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I wake up and I'm staring at all these lights and I realize that from floor to ceiling is a bulletproof like plexiglass wall with a camera and a light facing on me. These two walls are cinder blocks. The back wall is nothing but a metal sheet. And there's a steel toilet and a phone there. I legitimately thought I was in Saw, all right? I was having a panic attack, I was convulsing, I was crying. This lady won't stop screaming and banging on her fucking door. I don't know what her problem was. I was terrified, right? And I guess everybody started laughing at me because I started sticking my hand in the toilet to find a key or some shit. And I was like picking up the phone trying to type like all the numbers that I could remember. So I blacked, yeah, so fool me twice, right? Fool me once, I fucking dog, fool me twice, I did in toilets. So I black out again, and I come to and I realize everything that's going on. And I have to call my dad collect. And so I call him, and he's not thrilled that I'm there. He's not thrilled, and I have to tell him, he's like, well, I'll bail you out, but to prove to you, like, to make you learn a lesson, I'm going to sell all your video games. And I was like, well, I'll just wait, I'll wait it out. So I waited it out. I waited in there for 2.5 days, right? Yeah, that's crazy illegal to do to a 14-year-old. Yeah, it turns out they shouldn't have even put me in an adult holding cell at all. So I was in there for 2 days. I got released on Monday. I went back to school on Tuesday. And when I went there, I found out my girlfriend did not wait. She's not my girlfriend. She never waited. And she pretended that the whole thing didn't exist. So, but yeah, fooled me 3 times. I look like a fucking idiot, and everyone thinks I'm a liar about being in Saw. So that's my story.
From here on out, if any storytellers want to just let everyone know what was the popular song at the time of their story, feel free to. For my story, it was Nothing on You, B.O.B. featuring Bruno Mars, and I was listening to that when I was writing my story. Our next storyteller is a speech language. I need her. Speech therapist. She also hosts children's storytelling events around Detroit. It's very cute. Please welcome Rachel Lott.
I'm used to telling stories to children, so bear with me for this story. So my mother and I have that really annoying type of relationship where we text each other every day, we call each other every day, we're in contact constantly. So she's all, she's super fit, she's an athlete, she swims and bikes, and she could definitely kick my ass. So this story takes place about 4 years ago, and I'm at work being a speech therapist. I had twins in my little classroom, I'll never forget. I looked at my phone because I was going to set a timer for our activity, and I had 14 missed calls. So, of course, my heart rate starts just like, I can't even barely breathe. They're all from my dad, one's from my sister. I'm like, something's wrong with my family, something's going terribly wrong, and I never thought this moment was going to come, especially with my mother. She's a strong figure. There's nothing that can go wrong with her. I've never seen her ill. I've never seen her, weak at all. So I basically just get in contact with my dad. He's, get here as soon as possible. We're at Wyandotte Emergency Hospital, and it's not looking good for your mom. So I don't have a lot of memories from that moment. I drove about 100 miles per hour on the freeway, 75 south, and I do remember that the Phil Collins song with the drum had this hysterical laughter, manic moment of holy shit, what's gonna happen? So that happened, and then the only other memory is I drive up and I show up and I see my mother, and she doesn't look like herself at all. She's nonverbal. She looks wild. She just looks terrified, and she's looking at us desperately. My dad and I were both there, and I heard that she had just had a CT scan. I have a lot of background with medical stuff, so I'm she had a stroke, she's nonverbal. I'm never going to talk to my mom again. We're never going to have that relationship that we've had, and this is it. I was trying to keep it together. So I'm talking to her, and I'm trying to keep it together, and I keep going to the bathroom and hysterically crying, and then going back and being like, you're fine, you know, like it's gonna be okay. And I think I was somewhat convincing. So we're talking to the doctor, and he has no idea what happened with her. So the CT scan came back normal. She did not have a stroke. She's just still looking very frantic and trying to like gesture to us, and she starts throwing up like violently. And as soon as she throws up, you know, she's talking to us and she's starting to tell us what she experienced that day that led to the ambulance, that led to the emergency room, and you know, that experience alone leads my father and I to say, like, obviously she ingested something, she has an allergic reaction, like, there's something that happened with her that after she is, you know, getting this out of her system, she's able to communicate to us. So the doctor is like, he's like a terrifying person, and like we are like clashing with him. And my mother is also like a veterinarian. She has a lot of medical knowledge, and she's basically just like yes and no, like nodding, like no, that's not correct. And my father is also communicating to her like, you know, this is. He was convincing her that she was having a panic attack. So we're all together saying to her, like, to the doctor, this is not possible, that she is this nonverbal and then, you know, can communicate to us. So she has a couple hours in the emergency room where she continues to kind of slowly gain some consciousness, and she still does not look like herself. And we're very concerned that something's going to happen again, or that she's, you know, that they didn't catch something on all of their medical testing. So she's released about 5 hours after she's admitted, and I'm just like, you know, we're frazzled. We're like, what could possibly have happened to her that, you know, she's completely unable to communicate to us, and then she's kind of okay. So I get back, you know, it's a school night. I remember I had work the next day, so I get back in my car and I'm driving home on the freeway, and she calls me completely coherent at home, and she's eating Taco Bell. And I'm just like, okay, I'm like still freaking out. I'm driving much slower, and I'm like trying to process this whole thing and wonder if like this is going to happen again, or if she's just going to be fine. So she's eating Taco Bell. She hasn't had Taco Bell in like 15 years, and she's like just happy as a clam. And so fast forward like 4 or 5 months. You know, we're so thankful that she's okay. Nothing ever happened again. My sister, who lived out of state, was like calling incessantly, "Is Mom okay? Is Mom okay?" And my mom and I were Christmas shopping. We were in Royal Oak, like just kind of, you know, having a great day, and I'm feeling like very thankful that day for her. And I'm just like realizing that I can't believe that, you know, this whole experience happened with her, and that she is okay, and we're having this day where, you know, it's just a normal day. And so we end up in a bar, and we end up in Pronto, and we're just like drinking, and she, you know, we were just talking about the year and how crazy everything was, and I'm like, oh my god, this crazy story just happened. Like, one of my really good friends was, you know, about to go to work, and she had a cookie, and she got to work, and she realized that she was super, like, out of it. She thought she was maybe having a stroke. So, and then she realized it was a pot cookie. So my mom spits out her beer, like, all over, and as you can see, probably where I'm going with this story. She is like, oh my god, like, I never told you about this story because you guys were so worried about me, and I thought that, you know, I didn't want to like give too much information, but you know, I am okay, and I'm still okay because I actually had like 6 pot cookies that day by mistake, unlabeled, in the freezer. They were my dad's, and she had them with her coffee, and she her first symptom was just like double vision, like couldn't understand like what, she was like writing letters at the table, which I think is so cute, and then she couldn't figure out like how to continue like her thought process. She tried to use the phone to call 911 because she thought she was having a stroke, and she couldn't figure out like how to use the phone, and she wandered out into like the front yard, and anyways, so we were fooled. Like, we had no idea that, I had no idea my dad had pot cookies. I had no idea my mom ate them all and then had to take a $900 ambulance ride. But she's okay now, so.
That's amazing. So our next storyteller is on Go Comedy's resident cast. He performs in many things here, including our All-Star Showdowns. You can find him also at the Planet and Black Box in Appropriate, which opens on April 27th. Please welcome Donnie Rydell.
Hi, I'm Donnie. This story takes place. I'm going to provide a little trigger warning, by the way. This is about attempted sexual assault. So if you don't want to hear that, that's what I get to handle this. I'll stop talking more about that. This takes place in Marquette, Michigan, up in the UP. Lake Superior, sort of right on the edge of the water. So, in addition to the stuff that happens in this story, it's sort of like always creepy there if it's raining and there's big waves and there's big rocks and it's very like, there's just this huge sense of ennui in the air at all times. Because everybody's basically stranded up there. That's where I went to college. I was an art student. There's like 3 types of students, I think. I'm the type of student that would never, ever initiate any sort of conversation with anybody at all. Second type of students sort of like talks to teachers and stuff, and then the third type of student is the type of person that talks too much all the time. Lance is that third type. He talked a lot. He was a photography student. I was a film major. That's moving pictures. He took still pictures. And so I was hanging out in the art department lobby one day, looking at nobody for the use, looking at my books and such, hoping that no one would talk to me, yet secretly hoping someone would talk to me. And here comes Lance. Lance looks like me now, but a little bit heavier, but he has like this hairline, but he had red hair and angry eyebrows. And like, behind his eyes there was a sense of like a lot of pain, a lot of anger that he needed to do something with. And this being college, this is where people discover how to express themselves. He sat down next to me and he started talking to me, and so I got really jazzed. Hey, a new friend! Yeah! He's looking me in the eye. I'm looking at him in the face. And he invites me, he says, hey, I'm a photography student, I'm doing a photography project, would you like to be in some of my pictures? I say, absolutely, of course, it's really nice to be told you're like beautiful. Really nice. Still doesn't get old even after this stuff. So I give him my phone number, he texts me back about the project like several weeks later. He says, hey, you should come up to my apartment. Today, this day, is another one of those foggy days where the air is wet. It's not raining, but if it were, like, the water's just sort of floating in the air. It's dark, there's clouds. I drive to his apartment, which ended up being like 3 blocks from my house. I totally could have walked, but I'm better. I text him and say, hey, I'm here. He says, come on up, door's unlocked. I go up to the apartment, I knock because I'm polite. I walk in, and the first thing I see is him, like, he's like just waiting, just casual joint in hand, smoking. And then I look around, and like lining all of his walls in a line are pictures of Marilyn Monroe, like just portraits of her. And then I look closer, and in between every portrait of Marilyn Monroe is a portrait of himself. Shirtless, and or just like the top part of his butt, doing typical sexy like pictures that I assume he took of himself. If he has a friend that would take those pictures for him, that's really great. I really did. But like today's already creepy. This is a creepy day. I walk into his apartment. Goodness. Sure, Marilyn Monroe fan, fine. Okay. He offers me a hit of his joint, I say sure. He offers me a drink, I say definitely. I think I'm looking good, I have my hat on, the snapback. Yeah, I'm down to more snapbacks. Wished he skateboarded, but didn't. He takes out his camera, starts taking pictures of me. I'm leaning on his wall, pictures of Marilyn Monroe and himself behind me. So really, I'm wondering if these pictures are of me or of proof that he had people in his space. One of the two. He takes 10 or 12 or 15 pictures and he looks down at the camera and he goes, like a sheep. He says, these won't do. These won't do. I don't like the lighting in this room at all. So he goes into another room and says, wait just a second, I'm going to set some things up in here. We'll get the lighting right in here. This other room is better. And I don't really think much of it, except for I think a lot of it because, the way his face looks. But I'm not trusting my instincts. I'm saying, Donnie, just give this guy the benefit of the doubt. Sure, he looks like a creep, and he acts like a creep, and he's creepy, but... Not today, not you. You're polite, you're not. And as he's setting stuff up, another thing, he had a curtain for a door on this room. And remember, in all 3 Austin Powers movies, where he's behind the curtain at some point and stuff is coming out of his butt, in a shadow way. That's sort of what was happening at this time, so it was really funny in retrospect. He sets everything up in his room. He says, "All right, come on in, I'm ready." I walk in. He says, "Stand there." I hit the mark, and he just lunges at my belt. I start shaking it. And I've had sex before. I've had nervous sex before. Consensual. And taking belt off is hard. So I can't imagine the thrill of him trying to get a belt off. Just the energy. I understand why he had trouble. Then he goes for my button because buttons are easier, I guess. I slap his hands away. I'm drunk and high, so I'm feeling weird. And then that didn't work, so he pushes me out of his bed. I fall back and wake up a little bit. Like that thing in movies, where you wake up on a hospital bed and you see the silhouette of the doctor, there's that one lamp, and then you just see the face right in front of you. That was Lance. So I put my leg up and I kicked him. In the lower stomach, upper penis. He lunged back, he goes, "Whoa!" I say, "This is making me uncomfortable." I get up, I'm just too polite, I think. I get up, I say, I don't think I'm comfortable with this, I don't want to be here anymore, me still standing, not just running away. And he says, "Okay, let's go to the lake where all those creepy rocks I was talking about earlier." I say, "Sure." I don't remember how I convinced him or told him or how we co-decided that we would drive separately. And it turned out he was parked on one side of the apartment. Luckily, I was parked on the other side of the apartment. I went into my car. Just sat there for a bit. I don't remember what song came on the radio. I'm sorry. But then I drove home, and here we are. Lance is in Arizona. I check up on him every once in a while. I hope he's not doing that anymore.
Thank you, Donnie. Let's give another round of applause for everyone who's gone so far. You've been really great. Thank you. And something I failed to mention actually at the beginning of the show is, let's just say, we always have sort of a mix of people who are sort of seasoned at speaking in shows like this, and then newcomers. And I wanted to say that this lineup is especially full of newcomers, so most of these people have never done this before, and so it's been really fantastic. And if you are interested in giving this a try, there are a couple ways you can go about that. One is just talk to me after the show. You can also email let's just say at gocomedy.net. And our next show is on May 10th, so it's a monthly show, and we're always looking for new storytellers. So, but in the meantime, are you guys ready for the next storyteller? I always ask people, like, how do you want me to introduce you? And I kind of let the people or everyone decide what they want me to say. And so with that in mind, the next storyteller is an unemployed copywriter with a heart of bronze. Her most recent claim to fame is something you actually may have seen. She went viral with a video where she was sort of mocking the very short-lived Lady Doritos. Yeah, it was awesome. Please welcome Callie McCain.
I might be able to help with both. This is my first time storytelling. A little background before I get started. I was born and raised in Wyandotte, Michigan. If you are unfamiliar with Wyandotte, Michigan, it's south of Detroit. Most famous for a quaint downtown, a good rowing team, and a really nice art festival. And I had this really good friend, she's still a good friend of mine, named Carrie. And our parents were best friends in high school. She was born like a month and 2 days after me. We were like together all the time. We were like total besties our whole lives. So she lived up north in a very tiny town called Bear Lake, Michigan. There were like, I don't know, I think she graduated with like 17 kids, for real. So as we started to grow up and I like thought I was a rebel, this sort of like city mouse, country mouse dynamic developed where I was always just like, oh Carrie, you and your like small town quaint charm, like we're on the mean streets getting in cars with boys and driving to the city to like smoke a little pot and then go home all the time. So I always felt very cool with her, very, city girl, whatever. So as we started to get older, I would every once in a while kind of try to shock her with what we were going to do, and we would like go eat at a Wendy's and then like go home. And so when I would go to her house, I was always trying to like push her a little bit, like let's do something bad, like let's get nasty with these like boys. And we did. So they would do this thing called like having movies, and like it's not like having sex, which I thought was like maybe like a sexy thing, like having movies, but it wasn't. They just like all got together and like watched movies. So I was always like, maybe like when the lights are low, I'll like make out with somebody, and I didn't. So one night I was up with at our house, and this was an exciting night because our parents once a year went whining, which is where they just get hammered. Going to different wineries all night, so like we knew they were going to be out late. When they came home, they were going to be like drunk on wine. So movies that time were at Jessica's house, and I had met Jessica before, and I was so excited because she was a bad girl. We're going to Jessica, she's like not going to let me down. So we get there, and there's like a movie out, and I'm like, fucking Jessica, what is happening? But there were some older boys there, so I was like, yes. And at one point, they're like talking about going teeping, and I'm like, fucking yes. This is my wheelhouse, I've been practicing for this, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to like ruin some trees here in the great northern country. So we go teeping, and they all, the town is so small they can't go buy the toilet paper because the shop owner will like put their hands in so everybody has to like go home and just like sneak a roll out. And it's really so that we can TP these houses. So it's like, yeah, we're like really edgy. So we're TPing and we go to the first house, and I'm like, you guys are like not trying. I'm like, you gotta like wet it down, you gotta throw it up high, you gotta bring some eggs, like come on, like I'll show you the way, you quaint country folk. So we're like, we're gonna go to Stephanie's house. I'm like, yes, fuck Stephanie. So we are driving forever, and we're like the boonies of the boonies. And I'm so excited. I haven't seen like The Hills Have Eyes or anything yet, so I'm like, this is awesome. And we go, and all the lights are on, and I'm like, okay, rookie mistake numero uno, you guys are fucking up. But let's do this. So we're TPing, and it's a laugh and whatever, and then the front door opens, and I'm like, oh fuck, and I'm like, I don't care, these people don't know me, and I'm like, that's the girl. And then I realized that this person on the porch, and it was like the silhouette, you know, and there's a man, and he's like, whatever, he's like, oh, man, with a shotgun. So I'm gonna fucking die. I've never seen a shotgun before in my life. This is the first for me. I don't have a lot of unwind, as it turns out, or people don't just like hang out on the front porch with them. So everybody takes off running. Spoiler alert, I am not a runner. Plot twist, I am running. I don't know where the fucking car is. I don't know any of the people I'm with. And I'm like, I just don't want to get shot because my mom will be so mad at me. So I'm running still, kind of whatever my version of running is. And I hear someone behind me. And I'm like, please don't let it be shotgun guy. And I look over my shoulder and it's this kid Brad, and I don't really know Brad, and all I remember about Brad from earlier was he was doing a George Costanza impression. And I don't, this is who's gonna save me, we are fucked. He kind of runs up next to me and he's like, you need to get down. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, you need to get down. So we hit the ground and we're a few feet, we're kind of far away from each other, but we're just laying in the grass and I'm breathing heavy and like not crying. And I hear motors, and I'm like, what the fuck is this, what the fuck is this? And then all of a sudden there are four-wheelers driving by me, and I lift my head up, still not crying, lift my head up, and I see Dad, or this man, on his four-wheeler with his shotgun. And so I'm like, so now is the time to die. And we laid there for a while, and I'm still not crying, just kidding, I'm crying. It was horrible. I just like so many thoughts ran through my head. I'm never gonna see my friends again, and like it's gonna be on the news that I like shot by a hillbilly TV. So we lay there for a really long time. We don't hear anything for a really long time, and finally George Costanza, aka Brad, says, "Okay, I think it's safe." You do? Because I could move in here and this could just be my house forever. So he was like, okay, we need to get back to the car. I'm like, I don't know where we are. I'm like a true millennial, and that like my body, when it was like being cooked up in my mom's belly, just like eliminated all sense of direction because I knew GPS was going to be invented. No idea where we're going. I'm like relying on Brad to like, save me. And we get to the car, and I realize I'm with Carrie, my beautiful, sweet, wonderful, kind, soft Carrie. And I'm so concerned in this moment. I'm like, Kelly, you gotta get it together. Like you're her tough friend. You gotta make her feel okay in this moment. And we walk up to the car, and she's not facing me. So I assume her face is gonna be stained with not tears, just like mine was. And I kind of go up and I touch her back, and she whips around, and her face is this bizarre mixture of sort of boredom and annoyance. And I was like, that's a strange reaction to almost dying, but okay. So we get in the car, and I don't say shit because I'm still really, really scared of what just happened to me. And I'm listening to everybody talk around me, and they're all laughing and having a good time. And it starts to dawn on me that the TPing isn't the fun part, it's the getting chased with shotguns that they were looking for. And this is not the first time that it's happened at Stephanie's house. And last time it was worse because she and her mother were also on the four-wheelers with the shotguns. So I had it easy. That night changed my perspective on a lot of things, particularly regarding me and Carrie, but most importantly I learned don't fool yourself into thinking you're a badass just because you grew up in the suburbs of Detroit.
Big City Girl Kelly McCann, everyone. Our next storyteller is currently stage managing the production Too Much Light Makes the Baby Go Blind at Slipstream Theater Initiative through the month of April. Check them out on Fridays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. And please welcome Jim Rimmel.
Hello everyone. Here goes. I was a really sad kid. One of my most vivid memories. I think he's laughing because I'm still kind of sad. One of my most vivid memories was sitting on the couch as a young child, probably 9 years old, crying to my mom about not having any friends. I was a really smart kid. I was labeled talented and gifted, and so I had good grades, but I had like no social life outside of school. And I was funny, and I could make people laugh in class, but beyond that, like there was no connection. Like I was just lonely. I had a sister who was a year and a half younger than me, but she was properly annoyed because I was like sensitive and she was like, leave me alone, get away from me, stop hugging me, good night, this is weird. So I kind of set out on like this mission, like my mom, we're gonna get you, play dates and blah, blah, blah. So like middle school rolls around and I've got a couple friends who I see, I'll go to their house every once in a great while or something like that. I've got a good friend who lives a couple doors down from me who's 3 years older. And he starts taking me to high school football games. And so I'm initiated to this like amazing social scene, like at a very young age. And I am like overwhelmed with like just the camaraderie and the whole just spectacle of it. Like everybody from all these different like I don't even know, socioeconomic backgrounds, different like places, they all get together and it's fun and there's all this like excitement and people killing each other on the football field and it's awesome. And I become like weirdly enamored. My little 12-year-old mind is like, how do I get to be a part of this? Like, so I started asking my buddy when we're at these games, like, what do I do when I'm here to like be one of these people who's like having all this fun? Like, what sport do I play to like get the girls and stuff like that? And he's like, you're weird, soccer or something. Like, just calm down. And so like I formulate this like loose plan. Like, I'm gonna be cool. Like, that's my intention. Like, I'm gonna be popular. Like, that's what I have to do because I've been so freaking lonely and weird. So like I'm watching, like I started binge watching before binge watching was a thing. Like I would take in hours of E! Entertainment TV's Wild On with Jules Asner, which was just like, I'm like, yes, this is what I want. Like I'm gonna jet set high school or something. And like an MTV Spring Break. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna like be muscular and not wear shirts and hook up all the time. Sure. So and I start like I have this full on like I start getting into fashion. Like I'm gelling my hair and forcing it into these contortions that I can't like naturally meet, and shopping like cool clearance racks like American Eagle and Abercrombie and stuff. Like this is my plan. This is what I think that I'm doing to be like this cool popular kid. And I start really getting concerned also with like who I'm hanging out with. So I joined the football team and I'm somehow a starting receiver on our freshman football team because all of the excellent players have been plucked for like JV and varsity, so I'm like the kid who's left. Like, yeah, we'll put that scrawny guy out there. And then one day, like, I get invited by one of these kids who's a fellow 14-year-old of known popularity, who's like, hey, if you want, we're getting together, we're gonna have some drinks this weekend. And I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever, cool. Like this is kind of like one of the things I've been building up to. Now, I was always a kid when I was younger who said, I won't drink. Like this is not, it seems unhealthy, it seems stupid. But this time I've gained the right amount of like cool apathy to where I'm like, yeah, let's do this. So we do the coolest thing that I've done to that point. And we, me and two other guys, 14, we get together in a basement with a fifth. So cool. And we start drinking. I take a shot. It's weird. It warms me. I've never done a shot before this. A little while later, I do another one. Now, this guy, a little more seasoned, he just pours himself a mixed drink and he's sipping it. We down this fifth. I've done a bunch of shots, and I had this amazing sense of euphoria that I've never experienced. I was a tightly wound, apparently, like, I was a little kid who was kind of like pushed into being an adult, kind of at too young of an age, like just really tightly boxed up. And so like for the first time I was just like unleashed, like yes, I was free. I could say anything, I'm bouncing around the basement like an idiot, and like initiating piggyback rides and and this is like this. I'm like yes, this is awesome. This is and so like in school the next day, like I'm like yes, this is what I'm gonna like. I've found my thing. Like this is what I want. Like I'm cool now. A few weeks later, we end up getting together again. This time it's like 4 or 5 of us, and we've got 4 fifths of alcohol. And we are, one of these guys has a brilliant idea. Hey, let's do lines of shots, where we line up shot glasses and we just start pounding them. We down those things. And we each do a line, and then a couple more of us do another line, and then I think I did another line, and then I think I did another line, and then I couldn't stand. And this is amazing, right? At this point I have to have somebody call my dad because I've not informed him that I'm going to stay the night at this guy's house. And through some, amazing dad magic, he figures out there's something wrong here. So he shows up to pick me up after I've already picked up dinner and I'm not really moving on the bathroom floor. I wobbled out to the car somehow, and we had a very quiet ride home, and I ended up grounded, but I was persistent, and I'm not going to give this up. This is me, my sole goal. And so from then on, it's just any chance that I can, we're going to drink. When are we drinking, guys? Who's going away? We are finding any excuse, anytime that we can. By, 15 sophomore year, I've got this new goal. I've met some guys who are a little bit older now, who are in college already, and they have the, well, that was quick. One of the guys he's a very cool drinker. He has this weird ability to take a full bottle of liquor and drink it like a shot. And I decided, hey, I'm going to learn how to do that because that's cool. And so I was initiated into the consistent blackout from drinking so much alcohol so quickly that you no longer have any kind of ability to function. This became what I was known for. I gained nicknames from my friends like Nick Cage after his character in Las Vegas, and Jimmy Lamone, which was after Bacardi Lamone. I was known to be kind of angry and hostile. I was awesome. I was getting pulled over in Taco Bell parking lots, and somehow I was seasoned enough to where I'd be able to talk my way out of it. Probably a little bit of white privilege there too, but high school year, senior year, I won Party Animal in our high school math election, and I immediately realized I had reached a point where I started telling people, I think there's something wrong here. One of my outlooks was, ironic would be if I got in a car accident and the other person died drunk and I was sober. This is an 18-year-old kid. I realized at that point, around that time, I need to change some things. I don't think I'm cool. I'm a drunk. And to sum the rest of it up, it took another, 7 years to get a hold of the habit. My 25th birthday, right after starting therapy with depression, because apparently when you come out of a long series of being drunk, or a long period of time of being drunk, and you start processing emotions, it becomes very difficult. And I took antidepressants for the first time on my 25th birthday, and then proceeded to go out and get very hammered, and ruin a relationship with somebody who I'd known my whole life. And the next morning, I walked out of my bedroom, and I was living with my dad at the time, and I said, I think I've got a drinking problem. And he went, all right. And that was about the only bit of input or intervention that I'd ever had from anybody. And somehow from that point, figured it out. Don't drink anymore. But that's, when a teenager thinks he's cool, sometimes he's not really aware of what he actually is.
Sadly, everyone, we are at our last storyteller of the evening. I know, I could go for another hour, but the shows continue tonight at 10 o'clock. Is opening night of Guess Who's Coming to Puppet Street, which is from my understanding, a puppet love story. There's a couple humans in it, but it's mostly puppets. I think there's also confetti. So check in the box office and see if there's any tickets left, But now to get to our last storyteller. She is a business consultant by day, comedy geek improviser, and stand-up by night. Please welcome Shelly Smith.
So, my story just happened less than a month ago, so whatever song was popular, it was probably by Kid Rock in this story, just so you know. So yeah, I was doing that thing that you do when you think you might be breaking up with somebody where you want to occupy all of your time so you don't have to think about anything. And if you're a performer, sometimes that means I'm going to get on every possible show. So I'm super busy. So about a month ago, I was so super motivated. I'm like, I need a new video so I can submit to festivals. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go online. I'm going to get on a bunch of open mics. I'm going to go. I'm going to get a video. I'm going to get submitted to festivals. It's going to be badass. I am ready. I've got new material. I'm excited. And I'm a business coach, so I send people emails that say things like, proper planning prevents poor performance. You get what you picture, visualize it's going to happen, send the energy out, you'll get it back. Things like that. I really say in real life, but then I go out and I talk about shit at night, whatever. So I've got this. You know, I'm like, I've booked a show on Monday night, I've booked a show on Thursday night, my camera's charged up, I like what I'm wearing, I'm early to the show, I know my material. This is going to be great. I'm going to get the video and the festival, but this is Monday, March 19th, at the Blue Moose in Farmington Hills. Shay knows this is fucking epic, right? I took a picture. I'm early because I like to be prepared and I want to see where I'm going to put my camera. So picture walking in. So to the right here, there's a moose head and a big table. So I'm like, where's the stage? They assure me the stage is here. It's just like you're here, but then a moose head, right? And then most of the patrons are way over there drinking and playing pool loudly. And then most of the comics are just like crowded right around in here. So also, I'm one of the only females besides the servers and 3 super drunk ladies way over there going like, we can't hear anything! We can't hear you! So I'm like, this is cool. This is one of those days where I rise to the occasion. I'm going to crush this. It's going to be great. And my friends are starting to show up and everything. And the host, Allison, she starts testing the mic. And it's sort of every third word goes out because there's a short in it. So it's like, and then but there was Friday, Gonzo, you know, and they're loud and drunk. And I'm like, oh, this isn't looking so great right now. And so she decides that since there's only comedians and the moose here and the crowd is over there, she's like, gives it to the next guy and says, go that way and do it, you know. So he starts heading this way, but it's still like, 10 years, animals, like that. And he keeps going, even though they're going, turn the music back on. He's not good. People are shouting. He's not good. Turn the music back on. And this guy, bless his heart, Rob Schneider, not the one you're thinking of, different guy. Different guy. There's a famous Rob Schneider. This guy's not Rob Schneider, but what a fucking trooper. He just does his whole entire set. No one's paying attention at all. And we're all realizing like, oh, this is bad. This isn't going well. So he's now standing in front of the door like this. There's the moose, there's the pool table, and people are like coming this way, telling him he's bad, and then leaving through this door. That's what's happening. And I'm next, so I'm just like, yes, I can't wait. So they announce, she announces me, but I think what was happening is what we're doing here, where we just pass the mic to the next person. So I said, keep the video going, because who knows how it might turn out. They give it to me, and I decide that I'm going to go over to the ladies who've been yelling that they can't hear. So I go over and I start doing my set to them, and they're like, yeah, thank you, see, we can hear you now, we like you, which is nice, but then they won't shut up. So like I can't do my act, they're just talking to me and drinking. And in the video, now I can see that there's Rob Schneider, and a drunk from the bar has come up, shoved him, and said, you insensitive bastard, don't you know what just happened to this man at the bar? Somebody just committed suicide, and you're doing this fucking stupid comedy, and he shoves him, and instead of saying, like, I'm sorry or something, Rob Schneider says, fuck you. Confrontation, but I don't know it. There's a Baconator, and there's a son of Baconator. There's no Mrs. Baconator, right, ladies? Woo, what's going on over here? And there's a confrontation, like an audience comic confrontation happening, and I'm like, should we keep going? I don't know. And all the comments were like, sure, Sheldon, keep it up. So this is the funny thing I wanted to play for you. The next guy, it's getting out of hand, obviously. The next guy, I'm like, gotta introduce him, right? And things are already going bad for Rob. Things have gone bad for me. I get ready to introduce the next guy, Andrew Yang. I'm like, who's next? You know, listen to what Andrew says. This is how bad it got right away. I hope this works so bad. Oh no! Hold on 1 second. This is gonna be great. Trust me. Everybody, calm down. Did you hear it? I said, who's next? And you hear Andrew go, oh God. He's in the booth. I have a picture of him in the booth, like covering his face. He's doing his set, and the drum lady goes, I'm carrying, which means I got a gun. Then, at some point, Gino, the manager, comes out from behind, and he's going, you're a bunch of fucking drunks at this bar. If you think you can hang out here 7 nights a week and get drunk and you own this bar, you got another thing coming, you can get the hell out and never come back. I'm calling the cops. And boy, was that exciting for everyone. Call them! Call them! Right? And we're just going like, thank you very much, that's my time. And next, we're still doing it. And the mic's still not working. And the pool players are still going. People are crying. My friend, so then the cops come and they start taking people out. And Gina Green starts going, oh, I like this guy. He has pretty eyes. Let it be said for the record, officer, that you have beautiful eyes. Do you need to frisk me? Do you need to frisk me? You know, Gina, she's absolutely flirting with the cop while he's hauling a lady by her who's like, I ain't never coming back here, right? And she's going out the back. And the manager totally has our back. It's like you never get this. You barely even get the TV turned off when you're doing comedy. You know, and they've like really tried. And he's like, we're doing comedy here, and screw everybody that doesn't want it. You can never come back here again. So one of the last guys gets up and tries to go over here and do a little thing, and it ends up being a confrontation with a lady who got pulled out by the cops but is coming back in to like she forgot something and he's standing there, and so she goes and she like gets her stuff on the table and she comes back and like here's the comic, I can't remember his name, damn it, and she's going like, oh yeah, fuck you, and they scream at each other for a while, right? Just in the middle of the room. They leave. The closer that night was Mark Sweetman, 30-year veteran comedian. He's traveled the world. He's been through everything, and he says something to me like, I remember when the shows used to be really good and the posters sucked. And he's doing his act in front of the door, cops going by, people going by screaming at him. So my lesson that night was I didn't get a festival video, I got more of like an evidence if you need video, and I learned the lesson that I can fool myself all day long, that I can make something go a certain way by thinking about it, but when everything just happens like that, it's just such a better story. Thanks.
That's our show. Let's give one more round of applause for all the storytellers. Let's give it up for Katie and waitstaff and Jeff and the bartender. And give it up for yourselves because it's a wonderful audience. Thank you so much. Please feel free to get another drink at the bar, stay for the puppet show. But if not, have a wonderful night and drive safe. Thank you.